Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is your boy Tanvir, the Bengal Dragon. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, follow me on Twitter, @Tantak01, and hit that bell notification button. First of all, Merry Christmas 2019. Merry Christmas to one and all who are celebrating it. Today, I'm going to talk about the first three X-Men movies: X-Men, X2, X-Men United, and X-Men 3: The Last Stand. Okay. It started off pretty good. X-Men, I liked it. It set up the stage pretty well. For the most part, the acting was good. Hugh Jackman was good. Sir Patrick Stewart was good. Ian McKellen, I always like his role as Magneto. You had some corny bits, yes. Toad getting struck by lightning. That was really corny. And then, you had some other parts, but for the most part, the movie was consistent. Okay. I was a little surprised and I remember watching an X-Men movie. Where they put Magneto in a plastic cell and the enemy's playing chess. I'm like, oh, it's this one. Because I remember as a kid, I'm like, for some reason, that was the part I remember the most. That and Rogue being stuck in the ice as he's watching Wolverine heal on up. You also had Sabretooth in there, and see, here's the thing. After seeing X-Men Origins of Wolverine, here's the thing. They should have expanded on Sabretooth's story a lot more. Because yeah, he's in the original X-Men movies, it seems like he's a bit toned down. And people want to see that, and people want to see a bit more of an aggressive side of Wolverine, aka Sabretooth. Okay. But the actors who stood out, apart from Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, was definitely Hugh Jackman. It's because he has a lot more to work with. For some reason, I feel the X-Men franchise, the movie franchise, does not like Cyclops. They don't like Cyclops. I mean, from the very first movie, Cyclops made it look like a chump because Wolverine is hitting on his girl, and it just doesn't stop. As for the plot, to use Rogue as a vessel, yeah, it's a little corny, but it's still it's not that bad of a plot. They stayed consistent. They stayed true to the, I won't say the comic books, but I'll say the basic gist of the animated cartoons, where Magneto, one way or the other, is trying to wipe out the world. Is trying to wipe out humans, or trying to assert mutant superiority over humans. And for some reason, there is this weird chemistry between Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen that just works. That just works in an X-Men movie. So first movie, I liked it, good enough, 7.5 out of 10. The second movie, X2 United. Now here, even from the first half, it's going good. You have William Stryker show up. You have his son James Stryker, and their backstory and whatnot. It's going good, but then somewhere in the middle, they started to lose me a little bit. Once they ran that assault on the academy, and then the plot hole started to show up. That little girl, basically convinced, James Stryker convincing a Professor X with the little girl a delusion that kill all mutants. I'm like, hey, aren't you a mutant? Isn't James a mutant? Then how come that thing is not hurting him? That amongst so many other plot holes. But still, for some reason, you see, every time something starts to fuck up, they switch back to a Wolverine scene. And Wolverine is such a fan favorite of the franchise that he somehow held this movie together and somehow kept it from falling all over the place. Even the part where, okay, Magneto's in a plastic cell with an automatic door and plastic conducts electricity. And Magneto draws the blood out of someone's body because it has too much iron, and he was able to walk to his cell. He was able to walk to Magneto's cell. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure excessive iron is gonna kill you. Like, it turns into a toxin. I'm pretty sure it turns into a toxin. And then suddenly he can control all the metal bits in the prison, in the plastic prison. I'm like, okay, so the facility is not plastic. The facility is not plastic. No one has any watches or anything. And plastic conducts electricity. I'm like, yeah, you have all electricity going around, but they're not plastic. They're not metal. They're all plastic. So the loopholes really started to show. Yeah, this was then the first movie as well, but at least they did not build upon it. Still, Wolverine somehow kept showing up enough number of times to somehow save this movie. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Which brings me to X-Men The Last Stand. Oh my god, this was a dumpster fire. At first I thought, okay, yeah, it's gonna be good. You have a good story going. Okay, you have, and I remember seeing this as well. Like, the only parts I remember is that there's a girl who her mutation is she can tell what other people's mutations are. So it's like she's like a human, TSA bag checking machine. Okay. Then you have another scene where there is a mutant that can clone himself. Okay, and at one point in a radar they showed a lot of these blips, they're all of these mutants. And then once the military was drawn to a concentrated area, it turns out that all of them are decoys. And the last scene I remember was that what was it? Yes, the cavalry coming to attack Magneto. Was it in a chopper? And Magneto says plastic because he could not control them. You have plastic choppers? Really? You have plastic choppers and plastic cars and plastic tanks? Really? That's how you're going to take out an army full of mutants? And here's where you could say they really didn't care about Cyclops, because they said that, oh, this guy with the shades, alright, let's just kill him off in the beginning. And then you have the Dark Phoenix show up and, good lord, help me, yeah, or save me, whatever he says to Logan, yeah. So the third movie, yes, you had maybe one or two cool scenes where let's say one of them was Magneto. I think he uprooted an entire bridge to cross a river or something like that. just for Juggernaut to go get going and breaking all the walls. I'm sorry, it's more than 6 a.m. here. So you had that, and you had I think one or two scenes with that kid that somehow made it intriguing, but they did not go anywhere with it. But yeah, this movie, I'm sorry, X-Men The Last Time was an absolute fail. There were way too many plot holes. Even Logan showing up as many times as he did could not save this movie. And what's that in the end? Both of them are alive? I'm like, you know what? At that point, I didn't even care. I'm like, I'm done with this movie. I'm done. I'm done. You have the same, person playing chess in a garden and another one talking to a doctor. I'm like, I'm done. I don't care. So, X-Men The Last Stand, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. I'm sorry. It was very bad for me. So, it's so unfortunate. Such a cool thing, or I won't say a concept like the X-Men, such a cool IP like the X-Men. How did they ruin it so bad, especially after the second movie? I mean, towards the end of the first movie, the downfall started, but the second movie somehow stayed afloat. But after the third movie, the third movie, it was like in a free fall. X-Men the Wolverine, X-Men Wolverine, the origins, it's absolute dumpster towering inferno. It's not even a fire, it's a towering inferno. Alright, once again, Merry Christmas to all, and please let me know what you thought about the first 3 X-Men movies in the comment section below. As always, this is your boy, Tanvir Side, the Bengal Dragon, signing out. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons.